This is Mac OS Ken.
Apple in the time of Omicron, iPhones back on top in China, and tales of imaginary products. It is Monday, the 29th of November, 2021. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Notion. One workspace for your whole team. Learn more and get started for free at notion.so. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macosken. The bad thing about taking 3 days off is coming back to 3 days of disquieting news. From the publication Stat, scientists in South Africa have identified a new coronavirus variant with a worrisome combination of mutations that experts fear could make it more transmissible and allow it to evade immune protection, including the protection generated by vaccines. Experts are scrambling to learn more about the variant, called Omicron by the World Health Organization. Right now, there are more open questions than firm answers, and although scientists have expressed significant early concern over the variant, the World Health Organization designated it as a variant of concern on Friday. They have cautioned that they are still seeking critical information about it. Well, there's no time for that on Wall Street, and so it was with news of that bubbling forth that Wedbush analyst Daniel Ives issued a note on Friday addressing Friday morning's sell-off of Apple shares. Apple 3.0 ran an excerpt of his writing. He indicates that the sell-off was kicked off by the ominous Omicron news, with Apple shares down $5.13 on Friday. He also sees that sell-off as a buying opportunity. Quoting his note, "Our view is that while tech valuations appear stretched to many on the street, importantly, the growth prospects around cloud, cybersecurity, 5G, and the metaverse are unparalleled to any period of time we have experienced since covering tech stocks in 2000. We believe the chip shortage eases through the first half of 2022, which will further buoy the overall tech." He sees Apple as all up in the cloud, cybersecurity, 5G, metaverse verse. Mr. Ive has an outperform rating on Apple shares. His price target on the shares is $185. When COVID is not Apple's biggest news, iPhone tends to be. And there's something interesting on that front. Apple Must highlights new numbers from Counterpoint research that show iPhone back on top in China. According to the firm, October, the first full month of sales for the iPhone 13 line, was huge for iPhone in the Middle Kingdom, and November could be even bigger. According to Counterpoint, Apple sales grew 46% month-on-month, September to October, the highest among all major original equipment manufacturers in the country. In comparison, China's smartphone market grew only 2% month-over-month in October. Apple's stellar show came at a time when many consumers were delaying their purchases ahead of the Singles' Day sales in November. Other key OEMs saw month-over-month declines in their October sales. I say November could be bigger. Apple Insider ran a report a couple of weeks back that had China online retail giant JD.com selling $15.6 million worth of iPhone 13s in the first 2 seconds of its Singles' Day sales event. Even without that, though, iPhone's October performance was enough to make it the leading smartphone brand in China, a title it has not held since December of 2015. Well, here's kind of a crappy thing. Bloomberg's Mark Gurman says Apple Car may not hit the road in 2025. This counters a story that hit a couple of weeks ago from, wait for it, Bloomberg's Mark Gurman. In his latest Power On newsletter, Gurman wrote, "While the introduction of a headset will be complex, it will be nothing compared to a car. While Apple is targeting 2025 for a launch, actually getting the vehicle on city streets could take even longer. In other words, don't expect to ride in an Apple car for a long time. That part was posted by Apple 3.0's Philip Elmer DeWitt, who does not seem amused. His take: okay, now I get it. First, Gurman makes headlines with rumors of way earlier than expected launch dates. Then he makes more headlines and disappoints readers by reporting that his original dates were unrealistic. Meow. You may wonder why Gurman mentioned the introduction of a headset at the top of the quote about the car. That may have been in response to a new note on the subject from KGI securities analyst Ming-Chi Kuo. 9 to 5 Mac had word of words from young MC. What he expects from Apple's anticipated augmented reality headset is the stuff of which dreams are made. According to the analyst, Apple's AR headset will have Mac-level or PC-level computing power. It will run independent of a Mac, it will run independent of an iPhone, and it will support a comprehensive range of applications rather than specific applications. 9 to 5 Mac's read on the note says Apple's goal is to replace the iPhone with augmented reality in 10 years. The way the analyst sees it, if the headset is positioned only as an accessory for the Mac or iPhone, it will not be conducive to the growth of the product. An AR headset that works independently means that it will have its own ecosystem and provide the most complete and flexible user experience. According to the report, the analyst thinks the AR headset is the first step to achieve this project, and the first step in that first step is expected in about a year. He thinks Apple's AR headset will launch in the fourth quarter of 2022, according to the report. More news in a moment, but first a word from Notion. One workspace for your whole team. With hybrid work becoming the norm, the strongest teams have two things in common: speed and alignment. Both come from having one hub where everyone can share work and processes, manage projects, and collaborate with clarity. Notion can be that for your team. For companies of all sizes, Notion provides one central and customizable workspace that can be tailored to fit any team and bring them all together to get more done and move faster. Notion is an all-in-one team collaboration tool that combines note-taking, document sharing, wikis, project management, and much more into one space that is simple, powerful, and beautifully designed. Plus, Notion has a worldwide network of millions of users creating templates, tutorials, and new inspiration. The product is getting better all the time, and you will always have the support you need. Learn more and get started for free at notion.so. You can check it out on your own and invite as many folks as you want to see how it works. Take the first step toward an organized, happy team today, again, at notion.so. Apple is looking to permanently clip Pegasus wings. The company issued a press release a little under a week ago saying it had filed suit against the Israeli firm NSO Group and its parent company for its surveillance and targeting of Apple users. You likely remember this story from late summer. In case you don't, the press release says NSO Group creates sophisticated, state-sponsored surveillance technology that allows its highly targeted spyware to surveil its victims. These attacks are only aimed at a very small number of users, and they impact people across multiple platforms, including iOS and Android. Researchers and journalists have publicly documented a history of this spyware being abused to target journalists, activists, dissidents, academics, and government officials. And Apple is looking to stop it. The company says it is seeking a permanent injunction to ban NSO Group from using any Apple software, services, or devices, It will also notify any users it believes have been targeted by NSO Group Tech. And finally, the company says it will contribute $10 million, as well as any damages from the lawsuit, to organizations pursuing cyber surveillance research and advocacy. Apple stopped selling stuff in Turkey last Tuesday to a serious extent. CNBC ran a piece that sort of explained it. Actually, the piece explained it. I only sort of understood it. Basically, a monetary policy being pursued by the country's president, cutting interest rates amid rising double-digit inflation, led to a crash of the Turkish lira. In 2019, the lira was trading at roughly 5.6 to the dollar, according to CNBC. Week before last, watchers said that 11 lira to the dollar was a psychological barrier. Last Tuesday, CNBC says Turkey's lira crashed to a record low of 13.44 to the dollar, which is a level once unfathomable. Of course, Apple's prices were based on the lira to dollar conversion being not so out of whack. When they got that wacky, Mac Rumors says Apple temporarily halted sales of devices in the country. That went on into Wednesday, when a piece from Apple Insider said Apple was keeping shoppers from shopping at retail locations. Citing a report from Mac Reports, the piece indicated that Apple employees were turning away customers looking to buy Apple devices, though people with Genius appointments were able to keep those. With the lira still trading at 12.69 to the dollar, one couldn't say that things are back to normal. However, Apple is back to selling. 9 to 5 Mac ran a report on Friday saying the Cupertino company had resumed sales in Turkey, though at decidedly higher prices. According to that report, local prices have been increased by 25% to reflect the devaluation of the Turkish lira against the dollar. That report also had a reader refuting the Mac Report's claim that Apple stores were turning shoppers away, though it's unclear on what they were basing that. An interesting demand from Russia last week. Apple Insider says the country has given Apple and 12 other foreign companies until the end of this year to establish a physical presence in Russia. If this sounds familiar, it's probably because we heard about it over the summer. Back on the 1st of July, the report says, a new law came into effect in Russia that obliges social media giants with more than 500,000 daily users to open offices in Russia. Now Russia's leaning on Apple, Google, Facebook, Telegram, TikTok, Twitter, and others to make it happen. No word on how big the physical presence has to be. Apple Insider says failure to comply with the law could result in advertising, data collection, or money transfer restrictions, as well as potential outright bans. The new colors of HomePod Mini have turned up in new places. Midweek last week, 9 to 5 Mac ran a piece saying that the new hues for these small, kinda smart speakers had turned up in Australia, Austria, France, Germany, India, Ireland, Spain, and the UK. Additionally, HomePod Mini has found its way to Italy for the first time, according to the report. And finally today, congratulations to an Apple TV Plus series that is not Ted Lasso. The Israeli news site Haaretz says the Israeli TV series Tehran has won the International Emmy for Best Drama. Made for Israeli TV, the show was also picked up and streamed globally on Apple TV+. If you missed it, the report says the show tells the story of a Mossad agent who goes undercover in Iran to sabotage the country's nuclear facilities and unexpectedly falls in love with a young Iranian man. The piece says international Emmys recognize non-English language television programs as well as those originally aired outside the U.S. Season 2 of Tehran is filming now. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by Notion, one workspace for your whole team. Learn more and get started for free at notion.so. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media. Online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. info@macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.